Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story about a student who's desperate for a new life, a landlord who's stuck in his ways, and a very, very strange deal that ends up changing everything for both of them.
So think about it for a second. How far would you go? Because this isn't just some random question. It's the very real dilemma that our main character is about to face, and her answer takes her down a path nobody could have seen coming.
All right, so let's set the scene and meet the two people at the heart of this story. On the surface, they are complete opposites, but their worlds are about to collide in a big way.
So first you've got Clark. She has these huge dreams of living in Paris, but in reality, she's totally stuck. She just failed her driving test for the 5th time, and she's miserable working in her dad's shop. And then you have Mr. Henry. He's this retired, super irritable guy who just wants to be left alone. When Clark shows up at his doorstep looking for a room, he literally just slams the door right in her face.
But then, just when you think it's over, something kind of weird happens. After trying to scare her away by quoting a ridiculously high rent, Henry suddenly changes his mind. He actually calls Clark back and says, "The room is yours." For Clark, it feels like a miracle. Her Parisian dream is finally happening. But of course, there's a catch.
Now you'd think she's got it made, right? A room in Paris? Well, not so fast. Living at Henry's house comes with a whole bunch of strange rules, and pretty soon a proposition that is going to turn her entire life upside down.
Okay, so in the house, there's this beautiful old piano, and Henry has one single, very strict rule: do not touch the piano, ever. But one day, she can't resist. She sits down, starts to play, and of course, Henry catches her. He absolutely loses it and tells her to get out of his house, immediately.
So as you can imagine, Clark is just crushed. She doesn't have a job yet, she has no money for rent, and now she's about to be homeless. She begs him to let her stay, but Henry, he's not interested in apologies. He is, however, interested in a different kind of payment plan.
And there it is, the bombshell offer. See, Henry absolutely despises his daughter-in-law, Valerie. He's convinced she stole his son, Paul, away from him. So he makes Clark this insane deal: seduce my son, destroy his marriage, and you can live here totally rent-free for 6 whole months.
So what does she do? With her entire future in Paris on the line, Clark actually agrees to this crazy scheme. And this isn't some half-baked idea. She gets to work on a very calculated plan.
I mean, look at this. It's like a spy mission. With Henry feeding her all the intel, Clark learns everything about Paul. She sets up a chance meeting where he goes swimming. She totally charms him, hitting all his favorite topics, and builds this connection that he thinks is completely real. And Paul? He has no idea it's a setup. He starts falling for her, hard.
And unbelievably, it works perfectly. Paul is head over heels, and it's not long before his wife, Valerie, finds texts and realizes what's going on. A divorce seems like it's just a matter of time. But right when Henry is about to get exactly what he wanted, Valerie drops her own bombshell. She's pregnant. And just like that, the game is over. They decide to stay together for the baby.
So the seduction plan is a total bust. But as that door slams shut, a completely different kind of failure in Clark's life is about to open up a whole new world for her.
In the middle of all this drama, Clark checks her university exam results, and, yep, right at the bottom of the list, there's her name. She failed. Again. I mean, this is just rock bottom. She feels like a total failure, and that dream of a new life in Paris, it feels like it's just turning to dust.
So a totally defeated Clark tells Henry she failed, probably expecting him to finally kick her out for good. But instead of getting angry, the grumpy landlord says this. He doesn't yell at her, he actually comforts her. He basically says, hey, life is full of setbacks. What's important is that you do what you truly love, what actually makes you happy.
And this right here, this is the moment everything flips. The guy who hired her to be a homewrecker suddenly becomes her biggest cheerleader. He finally tells her why the piano was off limits. It belonged to his late wife, and hearing Clark play brought back all these wonderful memories. He sees her real talent, and he secretly fills out an application for her to go to the famous London School of Music. So, empowered by the support from the last person on Earth she expected it from, Clark finally finds her true path. But as you might have guessed, this story has one last heartbreaking twist.
This is it. Clark makes her choice. She calls her dad and tells him, I'm not coming home. I'm not going to work in the shop. I'm going to be a musician. And she just dives in head first, spending months practicing for that music school exam, with Henry cheering her on the whole time.
A few months later, she's in London for the big audition. She's right there, on the verge of this incredible new dream. And in the middle of her exams, she gets the call. It's devastating news. Henry has passed away. Her mentor, the grumpy old man who put her on this path in the first place, is gone.
When she gets back to Paris, Paul hands her a letter that Henry wrote before he died. And in it, his transformation is just complete. He gives her all this fatherly advice, telling her to chase her dreams and make up with her own dad. He even leaves her his old slippers she always liked. But it's that last request that just gets you. Please visit my grave once a week. I don't want to be alone anymore.
And Paul confirms it. He tells Clark that in those last months, he'd never seen his father so happy. Their bizarre, manipulative bargain had somehow, against all odds, blossomed into this real, meaningful friendship. She didn't just find a new career. She gave a lonely old man joy and a reason to care at the end of his life.
You know, this whole story is such a powerful reminder that sometimes the people who change our lives the most show up in the most unexpected ways. A relationship that started with a selfish, cynical deal ended up helping two very lost people find exactly what they needed. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How a single chance encounter with a total stranger can end up pointing you toward who you were always meant to be.